Being out here in Europe, what do you kind of think about the European economic situation? And
It's fucked. Can I say that?
Sure. How do you think Bitcoin can apply to the European region or potentially help out its financial situation?
Europeans don't like to hear this, but there are some parallels between Bitcoin and the euro. So the euro was founded to have an alternative to the dollar, actually. The euro was founded to get out of the American control. And the idea was to have a currency that is rules-based, international, and totally independent from the government of the local government. In practice, the European Central Bank is just monetizing the debt anyway. And they're saying, well, we need to do this because otherwise the euro would collapse, right? So, and now with the situation right now, I'm not very positive about Europe. I think that the Americans are winning again, which is fine with me. It's better than the Chinese or the Russians winning. How can Bitcoin help? We need to adopt Bitcoin on every possible level, and we need to try and stop stupid rules from hindering us.
The situation in Europe is so dire that eventually, when it comes to energy, they're going to have to just print so much money in order to pay for energy, and that could devalue the currency. And while that would be a travesty for Europe, it's really kind of one of the main use cases for Bitcoin as this inflation hedge. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes. And I mean, in the end, hyperinflation is the ultimate use case of any fiat currency.
Yes.
And I really hope that, the governments and the bureaucracies are not going to make it too hard for us to use Bitcoin to protect ourselves from what is to come, because you print away the pandemic, you print away a financial crisis. You cannot print away an energy crisis, you cannot print energy. And people will demand this. In every single crisis, people will just demand more money. Yeah. So how are you ever going to get out of this?
You hope the government doesn't prevent people from getting into Bitcoin. And so how do you see that would kind of happen? Do you think that they would shut down the kind of services to buy Bitcoin? If so, do you have an opinion on DeFi or decentralized finance? Do you think that's something applicable to Bitcoin?
You know that the word is very loaded, especially in Bitcoin communities, because you think of Ethereum and you think of PancakeSwap and all these scams and shitcoins, right? But in the end, yes, Bitcoin will be part of a decentralized and a centralized financial system, because the banks are going to use it. The banks are going to use it, and it is already decentralized finance, and that's the most. So you can never completely get rid of it, right? And yes, I guess there could be a scenario where you're going to use services built on top of Bitcoin in any capacity, centralized, decentralized, half centralized, whatever, because that's how money works.
If there was a product that allowed you to borrow against your Bitcoin at 0% interest that was decentralized, and so that is a loaded term, and let's assume that it is in fact decentralized, would you use that? And do you think that is a product that people would value?
Do I hold my keys?
The collateral would be held in a smart contract. And so subject to the terms of the contract, you do in fact hold your own keys. So you could go into the contract and say, hey, I want to remove my Bitcoin back. But if you've locked it in a contract that says, hey, you've essentially borrowed against it, if you've taken out a loan against your Bitcoin, you can't just control your keys and take it out. You'd have to pay back the loan first and then take out your Bitcoin.
If I can go to my bank and give them a Bitcoin and take a loan, would I do that? Probably, yeah.
If this is a product that is in demand where people want to borrow against their Bitcoin, yet we have to give up our custody to these centralized authorities, then we risk creating this kind of bifurcated market where you have like this controlled by the government collateral versus this kind of everybody that held their own keys.
I agree. If it's possible to have a system that is possibly less risky, I'm all for it. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if your product provides that. I have to admit, I don't know.
We'll find out though. We think so.
I don't know, but it's logical that these things are going to be tried. Just like all the other stuff that Bitcoiners love to hate, and I'm a total maximalist, and I think that the main reason to hold Bitcoin is to save your money, to hold your own keys, to stay out of trouble for the next couple of years, to connect with other Bitcoiners, because that's also important. But in the end, of course, there's going to be products built on technologies like the Lightning Network is also a layer. There's going to be layers, and we're going to use these Bitcoin for things, right? The arguments that come from like the altcoin and shitcoin perspectives, like, well, you can't use Bitcoin. It's not true. We can use it to save money, which is the most important use case. I mean, savings are literally the basis of civilization. But obviously, there's going to be services that are going to provide services for these Bitcoin, and so that's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think you said it perfectly. Bitcoin is savings, and thank God for Bitcoin. I think it's the life raft that we were all looking for in this kind of monetary madness.